Hey, beautiful souls. So I'm outside, but I like to be outside, so it's gonna happen. I just wanted to try to make a really big connection with you guys as to why I share such a wide variety of things on this channel, especially, my personal journey on this crazy twin flame ascension path. But the reason I'm sharing this is for everyone, because my biggest purpose here on earth, even though my purpose is really multifaceted, is to wake us all up to the truths of our souls, which is that we're essentially love, but that we are creator beings. Abraham-Hicks says, quote, "Words don't teach, but experience teaches." And shared experience is, the closest thing to being able to teach anybody anything that hasn't thus far lived through it for themselves. And the reason I'm sharing such intimate things is because I want you guys to see that, yes, I can get emotional. I'm just as human as everyone else, and I'm an empath and a divine channel. But however, the reason I share this journey is so that you guys can see all parts of it, how I'm presenting myself while navigating, life's normal struggles, or not normal for everyone, but for some, because that's the biggest lesson that I can really embark on anyone, especially in a society where admitting that we need help or that we're suffering in some regard is not socially accepted and really often looked at as weak. It's therefore encouraging that an individual has to be tough, be strong, instead of encouraging what we actually should be fostering to grow as humans, which is love, encouraging self-care, growth, actually giving support to people in making decisions that are actually going to benefit them, without allowing our own insecurities or projections based on ego to affect the lives of others around us. There's these denial of issues, the pretending that we're okay, stuck in this circle of frickin' misery where it seems like no one really wants you to succeed or be happy or have love. So we actually tend to push away anyone with an actual, care or affection for us, because we're so normalized towards such a narcissistic, essentially, society, but just a normalized behavior of being tough and affected. So, we're fine, just move on next, embracing things for what it, instead of embracing things for what they are, to allow ourselves to grow and succeed, to feel love. So how can we even really begin to change that, to end that cycle? It has to start somewhere, right? So many people talk about, the care or the lack of care that they might have in their life. So isn't that some sort of indication that, in fact, pretending that we're all okay or happy or not lonely is actually socially a depressing factor? Personally, I choose something better. I want something better. Does that mean that I might have unrealistic expectations in this broken society? Not a fucking chance. Be the change that you want to be in the world, right? Life can be so wonderful, so beautiful when shared in connection. Imagine that fairy tale love that you wished for, or most people wished for as kids, before, the world crushed that any chance that that could actually be a real possibility. Take away our need to pretend. And if we learn how to care about those who truly care for us, we're living a fairy tale. So all of this wisdom that's coming in through this path of ascension, all this knowledge from the ancient masters, these, philosophic leaders that have embarked all this wisdom, and the strongest thing that they've ever taught us is their example of alignment with their selves, with their soul, with spirit, with God, the universe, whatever. What a master has mastered is their vibrational alignment. So it's not what they're saying, it's what they're demonstrating. And what they're demonstrating is this alignment, this harmony. So if you can focus on those things and watch those characteristics, how do they seem to be? Are they worried or are they calm? Are they kind or are they mean? Are they frustrated? Are they mostly on top of life? Are they eager or are they depressed? Are they really happy or are they really sad? In other words, look for the emotional indicators of what they might be doing with their vibration and then mimic that. So, that's how we teach or learn love, healing, to have those things present in our lives. Someone teaches love by loving. you teach through the clarity of your example. You know, our guides can offer us so many things, but our intention and their intention when we speak, when we communicate, when we share these messages, is to invoke a feeling and guiding you into alignment. So, you know, either offering examples, stories, guidance, whatever it may be that comes through in order to, you know, help you out. Because, you know, a lot of us feel like we might need to, you know, erase some of the hard drive that we have going on. But really, what we should be doing is just focusing on the most beneficial parts of everything that's ever happened. But then, you know, these emotions, when they come up, that's too late kind of thing. So this is why I share about conscious creation, trying to get ahead of things instead of trying to just deal with the shit mess that you might be in. You know, I'm created by your previous thoughts, and your emotions are the indicator of that after the fact. So, you know, like thinking about standing in front of a car that's getting ready to roll up into the ocean, you could maybe hold it if it hasn't started moving really, right? But if you wanted to push it into the ocean and it wasn't moving, you could also just give it a little shove. You know, you want to get ahead of what you're doing instead of waiting for the momentum's already underway, and then you're like, what do I do? You know, and at that point, all you can do is physical action, which is never going to be enough. So then it's like an analogy that I love from Abraham-Hicks again as well. It's one of my idols. Jump out of a plane at 30,000 feet and you have no parachute, and you go, what the frick do I do? Guys will say, just hang on, it'll be over soon. You know, because there's so much momentum that there's not much you can frickin' do. But if you can envision things the way that you want them to be, if you care about how you're feeling, you know, which is such a simplistic thing that a lot of people can't even hear that. There's not enough angst or struggle or trauma or drama in it when people hear how you feel is everything and you have control over how you feel. Most people, to some extent, will argue for their own limitations. Well, this made me feel this way and this made me feel this way, and those might be valid statements, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happened to you or how you feel about it. You have the option of choosing how you feel right now. Choose a better option every now moment. You know, and for most people, it has to get so bad that they're willing to, let go of that thing. But your guides are saying, like, you should be able to feel the difference between complimenting someone and criticizing someone. You should be able to feel the difference in every moment. And when you're doing one or the other, to be able to make a choice, like, oh, okay, no, this is my preference. I'm going to be doing more of this now and less of this. And there's so many people that are obviously wanting to be deliberate creators of their lives. They want to feel good. They don't understand why they don't. And so the guidance is that we need you to understand that wherever you are is perfectly fine. And you can get to wherever you want to be, wherever you want to feel, from wherever the hell you are. You just have to stop measuring where you are from in relation to where anybody else is, because that is not a factor that has anything to frickin' do with you, nor will affect you in any positive manner, unless all you're taking from that is example of that you want to mimic because of very evident success and happiness, right? So say you're just drowning in misery and depression and you want to jump to ecstasy. Maybe you remember what it feels like to be so happy, but you can't really get guidance from people who just think that you should be able to make that jump from depressed to happy, because the law of attraction is real, and it says that like things attract like things. So something's happened, right, that's made you feel how you feel, the thoughts that you're currently on. So you don't have access to just being on full cloud nine, full on bliss from misery. And that's perfectly fine, because you can still get there. You just can't make the jump from A to Z all at once. So here you'd be sitting here in this like suffocating, I can't frickin' breathe type of grief. And then you find something. You don't even know how you find it, but there's a thought that comes in your head that, as it hits you, is a thought of this intense frickin' anger. And as you focus on this angry thought for a minute, a thought that you don't want to really verbalize in present company because your, lollipop friend will probably jump all over you. Don't you acknowledge, though, that that angry thought is an improvement over the suffocating, disempowering, grieving thought? And can you hear the statement that if you take that angry thought and you just milk that for all it's worth, roll with that anger, and then just consciously acknowledge, hey, you know what, at least I'm breathing. I feel better, even if ever so slightly. That is you regaining your power. Because if you can move from depression to anger and be aware of that consciously, you can move from wherever the hell you are to wherever the hell you want to be. But what happens to so many people is you have unconsciously or even subconsciously found, in this like self-survival mode, the angry thought, because you're being guided to it from your, beloved higher self. But because it wasn't sunshine and frickin' rainbows enough for you or for your standards in that moment or for somebody else's standards, you didn't see it as the progress that it really was. So then you condemned yourself for not having done better, in which case you moved right frickin' back into your depression. So you move from where you are to a little better to where you are to a little better to where you are to a little better, but nothing ever actually gets better, and then you feel stuck. You feel further powerless, and I really need to tell you, and your guides need to tell you, that you are powerful. You all are so powerful. And that feeling of freedom and that feeling of power, that's the true you. And I want to say to you, the ultimate freedom is that acknowledgement that you are free from that awful feeling of disempowerment. In other words, freedom and power are the same thing. You are free to feel good. And the most disempowering feeling in the world is that feeling that you can't control the way that you're feeling. And that's what all fear is about. You fear that you won't be able to feel good, which you know is the way you're supposed to feel. So your vibrational, emotional system is all about that, So now you've moved from depression into your beloved anger. And if you're in control of yourself and you consciously say, I feel better. I've chosen an angry thought and it's an improvement from where I was. Now you can, begin to continuously move that no matter where you are, just reach for whatever feels best as far as you can go, just a little baby step. And that might be a far stretch from a lot of the ascension-based talk, myself included, that's, says follow your bliss. Well, that is the best decision that anybody could ever make. But if somebody says follow your bliss when you're in the middle of freaking depression, agony, and grief, it's not very good advice. But when you say to yourself, well, you know what, maybe I'm following my bliss, but I might just have a few little rest stops along the way, maybe I'm going to stop at rage. Infuriating anger. And anger. And frustration. And aggravation. And overwhelmment. And hopefulness, and pessimism, and optimistic pessimism, and pessimistic optimism, and optimism, and belief, and knowing. So maybe we're taking a couple rest stops, but you know what, friends? You just need to let go of one thing before this will work. You have to stop caring what anybody else thinks about where you are. It has to matter only to you, how you feel in every moment. Take the life-giving breath that you feel in that moment of anger, and be proud of your freaking self for you making that jump, no matter how small that jump is. Because once you've done that, you've regained control. And once you've regained control, there's nowhere you can't go. So there's another analogy I love. Say you're traveling from Calgary to Edmonton. It's like 400 kilometers or something. And halfway between-ish is a city called Red Deer. And so say you're going, you're finding yourselves traveling from Calgary all the way to Edmonton. We hit Red Deer. We don't get so depressed that we just turn and go back around to Calgary. We're not sitting there just going like, whoa, wait, we wanted to be in Edmonton. Why are we in Red Deer? Red Deer sucks. I don't want to be in Red Deer. And just go back home. The discouragement doesn't just like, take over and just cause you to go back to where you came from, right? And then you're just going back and forth. Calgary, Red Deer, Calgary, Red Deer, Calgary, Red Deer, never actually getting to where you want to go, right? Because you understand that you understand where you are, and you know where you're going, and you know which direction you have to stay pointed, right? And so that's the thing that you really need to understand. I think you've lost track of the importance of how you feel, and we've done that as a society. So when you reclaim this awareness of how you're feeling, there's never really a question about what's a better thought, because you'll feel into it. Like I hear from so many people things like, I'm stuck in this dead-end job, this unhappy relationship, I've been stuck here for so long. And things are never stuck, things are always in motion, and you're probably saying like, no, I'm stuck. I've been here for, as long as I can freaking remember. And I'm going to tell you, things are always changing. They're just changing to the same thing over and over and over and over again. So, but hear the power within that. Things are constantly changing. So, you're in Calgary, you're Red Deer, Calgary, Red Deer, Calgary, Red Deer. And you say you're stuck. But I'm telling you, just go towards Edmonton and just keep going till you're there. And that's what I'm saying about your emotional guidance system, right? This emotional scale, which I'll share in here. If you just decide that you are going to reach for the best thought that you can make in that moment, not the best thought that's ever freaking happened in this history of the world, or the best thought that you've ever had, just the best thought or feeling that you can achieve in any moment that you feel like you need to reach for a better feeling or thought. You need to be feeling your environment, right? Like feel your work environment. It's between where you are and where you want to be, right? So nothing else really makes a difference. It doesn't matter where you've been before. It doesn't matter how long you stayed in that emotion. It doesn't matter the only thing that matters is where you are, where you want to go, right? Think about GPS in your car. You put in a destination. And, if at all possible, you go on a direct route, directly where you want to go. You can change your current position, your current circumstances. You can change everything by shifting the way that you feel and realizing that how you feel in every moment is your level of your power. Choose to feel your truth. Thanks for being here, guys. Love you.